Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. People in Germany interested in getting the lowdown from me in German, auf Deutsch. You can go to Alles Schall und Rauch. Fred Mann out of Switzerland does an excellent website, Alles Schall und Rauch. And Secret TV of Leonberg near Stuttgart, also having my stuff up. If not now, then very, very soon. Don't forget the books in the various languages. Now, let's get back to this question of the growing tensions between Obama and the Pentagon. The way in which McKiernan was fired was brusque and insulting. McKiernan, military bullet head, he wanted to stop killing so many civilians in Afghanistan and Pakistan because he said this is having a blowback against my troops. And, of course, that's the whole idea. The goal is to create civil war in Afghanistan, but mainly so that can spill over into Pakistan. The target is Pakistan. Probably McKiernan didn't quite understand this important point, that his goal was nothing to do with fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan, but simply using the U.S. military presence to promote the breakup of Pakistan. You know the drill: Pashtunistan, Baluchistan, Sindh, Punjab, Waziristan, tribal areas around that. So McKiernan didn't get it. He was a military bullet head, some kind of a traditionalist, the old army. So Gates flies over, fires him, press conference, his career is over. Pentagon generals boiling with rage against Barkey and Gates. You could see this coming, right? Somebody like Barkey, I won't belabor the obvious. This is not going to go over big on the other side of the river at the Pentagon. Now, McChrystal, of course, a special forces utopian, meaning a terrorist controller, someone who directs the operation of assassins, somebody who, for whom the Predator drone program of assassinations, largely of civilians and wedding parties and villages, that's right up his alley. The New York Times reported, and this came up in a recent conference in Germany, that McChrystal, according to the New York Times, had set up torture stations, something like 15 to 20 torture stations in Iraq to torture people. So that's McChrystal. So that's the utopian who comes in. The military traditionalist, the bullet head, is out, and McChrystal is in. So the Gates, of course, himself a utopian, has humiliated a 4-star general. Boy, the British better pull out of there, right? Get the Tommies out of Afghanistan as fast as you can. Canada, too, get your forces out of there. The Italians had somebody killed this week. Get out. Go home. This is a loser. The incompetence of McChrystal. He says, I'm surprised to know that the Taliban completely dominates southern Afghanistan, Pashtunistan. Well, yes. Anyway, this is a fool's errand. This is a wild goose chase. End this now. It's time now to recognize Afghanistan is Obama's Vietnam. He demanded this. He came out in Chicago, July 2007. I demand the unilateral bombing of Pakistan. I demand acts of war against an allied country without reference to their government. And that is going to be this endless war, 5 to 10 years, according to the official estimates in Afghanistan. So if there's anybody left alive in the peace movement, are you there? Are you so stupefied by your foundation funding that you can't come out of the woodwork? Because a lot of these people, right, the code pinks of the world have essentially gone and have become dormant. They don't want to pick up the war issue anymore. All the pacifists have become warmongers in honor of Barkey. And, even their foundation grants are not going to protect them from the discrediting operations that are going on. Now, let's just talk about this healthcare debate going on. By the way, even Biden, before we get to that, even Biden is now reported to be leaking that maybe Afghanistan is going to be a loser. So when Biden jumps ship on a war, then you know that it's now you're in trouble. Now, look at the cap and trade, right? It's easy to deal with cap and trade. The answer to cap and trade, cap and tax, whatever it is no, no, no. There's no reason for any of this. This is a fraud. It's a hoax. It's fake science, junk science. There is no anthropogenic global warming. We don't need it. This would have no effect in any case. This is going to double at least the price of U.S. grain exports to the third world. It's going to kill hundreds of millions of people in the third world. You call that a left-wing policy? Boy, you better guess again. So cap and trade, simple. No, nix. The healthcare question is now more complicated because here there is a real need which is being exploited by these demagogues. So I would say, as usual, take it right up the middle. No to the rationing of care. No to balancing the budget of AIG and the Hartford and the rest of these bankrupt insurance companies, Hartford, Prudential, Allstate, MetLife, Lincoln Financial, Ameriprise Financial, Principal Financial. Don't balance their books by sending senior citizens helpless into that bad night. Euthanasia, in other words. The Obama administration looking more and more like the Hemlock Society. I'm sure we've got that going on, too. At the same time, though, you've got to have something, right? Because you got 50 million people who have nothing. The Republican demagogues get on there. The Republicans have basically controlled the government for 40 years, except for the Carter and Clinton interludes. So they set the tone. There's no health care. 50 million people don't have it. So you've got to have a government plan available to those people. Government plan would be cheaper. No dividends, no stockholders, no extravagant pay packages for the executives. You don't need so much lobbying. You don't need any advertising. That could have real savings. Let it be like the U.S. Postal Service competing against UPS and FedEx. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to play a government bureaucrat against a corporate bureaucrat, and you can try to eke out some kind of a margin down the middle, and then fight politically, because the corporate bureaucrat is going to be more vulnerable. There was this thing about 10 years ago where there was some kind of a government insurance plan thrown in for the elderly, and they went wild, and it was rescinded within a couple of months. We'll go back to that one, and I'll try to do that as we go along. Now, here's what we find. There's a proposal for a surtax on the super rich. There's nothing wrong in principle with a surtax on the super rich. It's important to let those Bush tax cuts for the rich lapse. But the surtax on the super rich, well, you can do it or not do it. But what I recommend is something different. Tobin tax, securities transfer tax. Instead of targeting these individuals, let's target the biggest flow of resources that is completely untaxed, right? Derivatives, stocks, bonds, options, futures, commodities, foreign exchange, all of that. And there's no sales tax on any of that. Slap a sales tax on that. That's your Tobin tax, securities transfer tax. You will have money for California. You will have money for a health care program. Now, the CBO says, Congressional Budget Office, the bean counters, say that there's not enough savings, there's not enough cost gouging in the current bill coming out of the House. That's good. That's a good sign. You don't want their savings. What they call savings, what they call entitlement reform or gouging, chiseling, is exactly what you don't want. So you basically got to thread the needle down the middle between the Republican demagogues who want to give money to the private insurance companies, and that's it, and the Orsag and Sibelius demagogues and the Dashels out there who want to loot Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid to get more money for Wall Street. So the hypocrisy of the Republicans is what they fear about this is if you get the public option, if you get a government plan available, it will expand because it will be, in many cases, better. So this will break the back of the Republican ideology, and that's about time. The Republican Party can survive if it becomes the party of industrial capitalism, right? Congressman Pence, 100 reactors in 20 years. No, Congressman, 100 reactors in 20 months. So stay tuned on this healthcare stuff. But again, cap and trade is easy. No, healthcare right down the middle. And we'll be back next week here on World Crisis Radio.